summer?
Pretty much the same. I've just been working
and to the beach.
Nah, I wouldn't. I didn't go to the beach. I went to Silver Dollar City though.
Oh, did you ride the powder keg?
Yes, I sure did.
Time traveler?
Yes, I sure did. It's spinning me around. And
Yes,
stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, did you get
that
sick?
was definitely my favorite.
Did you get sick?
I don't get sick. I'm just built different.
Did you did you get a pretzel?
What? No.
Did you get a pretzel?
No,
You didn't get a pretzel?
No, I got a funnel cake though.
Hey, what about those
funnel
chips?
cake.
Yeah,
You
funnel
know the
cake is
chips
good.
that swirl on a stick? You get chips on a stick?
You mean the potato,
Yeah,
the fried potato
yeah.
things? No, I didn't get one of those.
Y'all are making me hungry, man.
I think the last time I went to Silver Dollar City, I was in like junior high, and they had these little things, the little wax deals where you could like stick your hand in, and like looking back at it, you basically like made a gang sign or something, and like then it would come out and you'd have your hand like this or something. I just remember me and all my friends did that, and we had them on the bus, and they all broke, and we were really sad.
Yeah, my brother got one of those. He made a peace sign.
Hey, there you go. I don't remember what mine was. It was probably I probably did the same thing, to be honest with you. But I think Brandon has a debate for our co-host tonight, so let's talk about that.
I feel like there are two types of people in the world. There's cat people and dog people, and some are going to heaven and some are not. But I want to know from you two, are you a cat person or a dog person, and why? We'll start with Anna Grace. Cat person or dog person?
I'm definitely a dog person. I do not like cats. I mean, cats aren't bad. I mean, they can be sweet sometimes, but they're just so moody. Like, sometimes they can be so mean. And dogs they're just always happy.
Okay, so you're definitely a dog person.
Yeah.
What about you,
sure.
Ty? Cat or dog person?
Like out of the two, I'd probably have to say dogs because they're just nicer. But I'm not having any pets ever.
Really? Those are famous last words.
Except for like maybe like a fish or something. That's
like
about
not
it.
even really a pet because you can't pet it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Except if they bring you joy and you can name them, and then it's a pet.
Okay, so
that's
you
what
can
I
have a
say.
pet rock, right?
A pet.
But you would never have, like, a pet
But
giraffe.
no, because how? What?
Okay,
Like, you
okay.
can pet and name a giraffe, but you're not going to have it as a pet.
You could.
So let's just call it a joy bringer instead of a pet.
All right. No giraffe, right? Okay. So do you remember that one movie from 9th grade? Right?
Inception.
What are we talking about?
No,
Yeah, what
it
are you
was
talking
the
Zootopia.
It was the Wolfman movie from the History Channel, right? And
the
this
Great
movie-
with Liam
From
Neeson.
Miss Fertizzi's class.
Yeah, from Miss Fertizzi's class.
Oh, my
And she
That was a
she
weird
made us
movie.
watch it, and the guy at the end they said, "Oh, well, this guy just had a pet hyena." Yeah, hyena, and he was eating people. Like it was ridiculous.
Wait, he was eating people or the hyena was eating people?
Both.
Wait, so he was a kid? Hang on now.
So we're getting a little off
Yeah,
subject here.
yeah.
Hey, listen. Here's the thing about back to cats and dogs. I got two words: cat pee. Okay.
Oh.
Of course, dog pee too, but we won't go there. But I'm just saying, cat. I'm allergic to cats.
But you can train a dog. Well, I guess you can train cats too, but
Cats train humans. That's what they do not want to be trained. They're snobby.
yeah.
Mitchell,
they're
what about
very
you? What are you?
snobby.
Cats or dogs? What do you think?
I mean, I have a pretty strong opinion about this. Some of y'all out there might not agree with me, but it's just the facts. Just for starters, I'm allergic to cats, so don't nobody like cats anyway, because they just suck. But if you look in the Bible, you know whenever God cursed Satan, he turned him into a snake. But what you don't know is that snake really looked like a cat, and they just didn't tell you that in the Bible. They left that important detail out. Cats are the worst. Don't like cats.
Yeah, fur balls, cat pee. I just
They don't even want you to pet them.
No.
What's the point of getting a cat and calling it a pet? You might as well get a cat and call it a sit, because it's just gonna sit in the corner and not
We're
let you
getting
pet
a lot
it.
of hate. We're getting a lot of hate comments, Mitchell.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
the haters can come at me all they want, but the fact of the matter
That's
is,
not good.
nobody wants a cat because they don't even love you. Your dog will love you unconditionally. You could be a psychopath, a stalker, a murderer, and your dog will still be the happiest person at the end of the day when you walk in that door. Your cat looks at you like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, I know. Cats are
really
the worst.
do. No, that's
All
a
right,
lot.
so we're gonna do a little transition now. I'm gonna make two quick announcements while Mitchell Ty and Anna Grace are going to go into the next room for our next segment. So if you'll throw it over here to me. So here's the deal. There are 2 things that you need to know, students, coming up this week that involves you. The first thing is Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. We're going to be having in-person worship at the main building. You need to try to register if you can. We do accept walk-ups until we fill up. But we would prefer it if you would register. We will be sending out the link where you can register tomorrow through Remind. So look at that. You can register yourself if your whole family's not going to come, or you can get that link to your mom, dad, whoever, and get them to register the whole family. But we're slowly and safely beginning to gather together on Sunday mornings. We've been doing this since May, end of May, and we've had I think 131 weeks, something like that, and we still got a little more room. We can take a little more than that, but we want you to come if you feel like you can. You're not sick and you don't feel like you're vulnerable or whatever. We encourage you to wear a mask. I know that's not everybody's favorite thing to do, but that's just what you do if you love your neighbor. So you just protect yourself and them and everything. But anyway, that is this Sunday morning at 10:30, and then Sunday night. That's the second thing. We're having Ignite. And that is basically our first step to restarting our student ministry. We've been meeting for about a month now. We've been meeting in the gym. This week, we're actually going to be in the youth room. So it's going to feel a little bit more like normal. But what will not be normal is we want you to bring your own chair if possible. If you forget, we've got folding chairs, but the more folding chairs we use, the more we have to clean them up. So anyway, we want you here this Sunday. I think that's the important thing. If you feel safe, we want you here. So we hope you'll come. You don't have to have reservations for Sunday night. I will be teaching a lesson. We'll probably try to do something, a game. Again, no contact or anything like that. All right. I think they're just about ready in the other room. Let's throw it over to Mitchell.
Hey guys, here we are. We're in the game room, as you can see here, and we're going to play a game. It's going to be a short, sweet, simple game, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So before I even tell you what the game is, Anna Grace, since you're the lady in here, you get to pick. Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
She's going to go first. So that means, Ty, you're going to go second. So take your mask. Stay here. I'm going to explain the game. And once she starts, you're going to go in the hallway so you don't get any unfair advantages. So this is the game we're going to play. If you've ever seen the cotton ball into the bowl game, ooh, yeah, we're going to play a twist on that tonight. Tonight we're going to play cotton ball into the bowl with the spoon blindfolded. You have to use your non-dominant hand. So you're going to use, are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Right-handed. Are you right-handed or left-handed? Right-handed. Okay, so you're both going to use your left hand, all right? You're both going to use your left hand, right hand behind the back, blindfold yourself, so just pull your mask up over your eyes so you can't see, okay? And you've got 30 seconds to get as many cotton balls in the bowl as you can. All right, so Ty, go on out in the hallway. We'll call you back in whenever it's your turn. So, Anna Grace, I've got the timer right here, and I'll tell you whenever you go. Are you blindfolded? All right. You can find the bowl just so you know where the bowl is. You got it? All right. There's your bowl. Cotton balls all around, all on the table. Are you ready? All right. You can start in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, there you go. You got some cotton balls already. Oh, got a whole bunch of them in the bowl. There it is. Oh, yes. You just got a bunch right there.
You're doing great.
You got about 15 seconds left. Uh-oh. You tipped the bowl over. Oh, no, the bowl's tipped again.
There's not any cotton balls in there.
Oh, there you go. You got one in there. All right. You're going to stop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands off the table. Hands off the table. Everyone, a whopping 3 cotton balls. 3 cotton balls. Great job, Anna Grace. You can stay in and watch Ty because you've already gone. Ty, come on back in from out in the hallway. Do you understand the game? You're going to blindfold yourself with your mask.
All right, I want to ask one question.
All right, you have one question.
So can I
No, you can't do that. You have to scoop it with the spoon. Don't cheat. You have to use your non-dominant hand, your left hand, right hand behind your back. All right. And you can do it. Are you ready?
I think so.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go. You just got one. You just got one. You got one in.
Yeah, you're lying.
No, I'm serious. You're getting a bunch. Ty, you're doing great. You got about 20 seconds left. You've kind of scooted them around. You got like 20 seconds left, Ty. Yes.
You're doing great.
You got about 10 seconds left.
There are literally none in here.
You just knocked them out when you put your hand in there. You got 5 seconds left, Ty.
Get out of here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Pull your blindfold down.
You made them disappear.
Whatever. You.
I'm just kidding. Y'all did great. Y'all are both going to get candy. Thanks for playing along. It was a great game. But Anna Grace did technically win. She got through. I mean, I left you plenty to win.
Yeah.
You could have beat her by 3 whole cotton balls. But we're glad that you guys were here. We're glad that y'all watched our game. Our game was great fun tonight. And we just wanted to make fun of Todd. Just kidding. Love you, buddy. Mickey Mouse on the shirt and everything. We're going back in the room. We'll see y'all in just a second.
Oh my goodness, Mitchell, that was cold. But that was so good. I'm glad you did that. Hey, thanks for playing, Ty and Anna Grace. Tonight, we're in week 3 of our seasons series. Tonight is a very, very important lesson. Maybe one of the most important lessons that you will hear this year. It's about the idea of what you do in this season determines how you spend the next season. And so I want you to take just a minute. This is a much shorter lesson. I'm getting shorter and shorter every week. But y'all take a minute, take some notes, watch this, and we're going to come back at the end and talk about the biggest takeaway that you got out of the lesson. So check it out. Hey students, over the last 2 weeks, we've talked about being in different seasons of life, that there are reasons for each season that you're in, and eventually the season that you find yourself in, well, it's going to end. Last week, I shared what to do when your world is suddenly turned upside down and you find yourself in a season of change. Last week's lesson was really more about how to deal with a situation that's most likely not your fault. Most likely it's the result of somebody else's actions or something you couldn't control. Well, tonight, I want to change things up a little bit. Here's the question. What if you find yourself in a difficult season and it's not anybody else's fault, it's your own fault? Maybe some choices you made in the past have caught up with you. I don't want you guys to live with self-inflicted wounds because of bad choices you've made in your life. There are other seasons coming, and I want you to be fruitful in those seasons and live with few regrets. Often the reason so many of us are in the season we are in is due to our previous decisions and choices. Now, to help us get a handle on this, I want to take just a few minutes tonight to walk through the law of sowing and reaping in the Bible. Now, sowing simply means planting. Reaping means harvesting. Yes, those are agricultural garden terms, and you may not think it applies to you, but I promise it has everything to do with what you're going through in your life right now, because there is a cause and effect often in life. And if you learn the principles of sowing and reaping in your own life, it will help you make better choices and live with fewer regrets. So let's get into it. Here's the first part of the law of sowing and reaping. Write this down. Number 1, what I plant determines what I'll harvest. In Galatians 6:7, Paul writes, "Don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant." Okay? So there it is. Sowing and reaping, planting and harvesting. One time, I picked up some pumpkin seed, bought it in a package at the local seed and feed store, and we planted those pumpkin seeds. And it had it said pumpkin seeds with a picture of a pumpkin on the package. And so we planted those seeds, and a few weeks later, guess what we got? This is what we got. We got this. Now this is not a pumpkin. This is a watermelon. So apparently the wrong seed got put in the wrong envelope, and we were shocked because we planted pumpkin seed and we got watermelon. We would never have expected watermelon. Why? Because the kind of seed you plant determines the kind of crop you get. So what does that mean for you and for me? Well, in our life, the kind of choices we make, that seed, ends up with the crop or results we get.
We need to realize, students, that there's always consequences to actions and decisions. Sometimes those consequences are unintended or unexpected, but they happen. Every seed you plant is going to produce something. If you go around being critical all the time, don't be surprised when people are critical of you and you have a crop of criticism. If you go around gossiping, talking about people instead of talking to people, don't be surprised if people don't go around talking and gossiping around you. But here's the cool part. The reverse is also true. The kind of seed is the kind of crop you get. If you go around planting good seeds, if you sow seeds of love and kindness and gentleness and faith, those kind of things come back to you too. You end up with a harvest that's determined by the kind of seed you plant. And here's another thing to consider. You're always going to get more of the kind of crop or seed you plant. If you plant one seed, one watermelon seed, you're going to end up with more than one watermelon. That's the way it works. It's always multiplying. So it's not only the type, but the amount. Students, don't be fooled into thinking that you can embrace sin without any consequences. Don't kid yourself into believing that you can rebel against what God says and there won't be any consequences, because what you plant determines what you harvest. Now, there's a second principle to the law of sowing and reaping I want to touch on tonight. The second, number 2, write this down, where I plant determines where I harvest. Okay, this is a no-brainer. But there's an Indian proverb, and it's the proverb of 2 wolves. An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life, and he says, a fight's going on inside of me, he tells the little boy. He says, it's a terrible fight inside of me, and it's between 2 wolves. One is evil. He's angry and envious and has sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment. He said the other wolf is good. He's full of joy and peace and patience and hope and serenity and kindness and benevolence and empathy and truth and compassion and faith. And he said the same fight between those 2 wolves is going on in you and every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and asked his grandfather, well, which of the 2 wolves inside of you is going to win? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one you feed the most. Y'all, Paul talks about these 2 wolves in the next verse in Galatians 6:8. In Galatians 6:8, Paul writes, those who live only to satisfy their own sinful nature will harvest decay and death from that sinful nature. But those who live to please the Spirit will harvest everlasting life from the Spirit. Students, I've talked to so many teenagers over the years who were honest with me, and they would say things like, well, I want to do what was right. I want to do what's right. I want to follow God and live for Christ. But to be honest, I just don't desire that. I desire these other things I keep doing. They're more appealing to me. Students, the reason sin may be more appealing to you and me is because we constantly keep feeding our sinful nature. We rarely feed our spirit. We rarely plant the seed where it matters the most. And where you plant determines a whole lot about where you're going to have the crop and what kind of season you're finding yourself in right now. So be aware of what you're feeding. Are you feeding your flesh and running after things of the flesh, or are you trying to feed your spirit and grow the thing that's eternal in your life? Now, there's a final part to the law of sowing and reaping that has to do with the season you're living in. Write this down. Number 3, when I plant determines when I harvest. You always plant in one season and you harvest in a different season. You don't expect to plant corn one day and then the very next day have a harvest of corn. What you do in this season determines what comes in the season down the road. So there's a difference right now between the NBA, what's going on in the NBA and Major League Baseball. And here's the deal. It all has to do with choices each one of these organizations made weeks ago, maybe even months ago. The NBA chose to put all their players in a bubble and basically quarantine them. They had to be tested before they could enter the bubble. They had to be tested every day or every so often in the bubble, and they are screened and watched closely, and they don't just let anybody in the bubble. And so they are playing in a very controlled environment. The Major League Baseball, did it the opposite way. They put out some guidelines and left it on the players to make sure things were okay. And what's happened is there's been an outbreak of COVID among Major League Baseball teams to the point where the season is now threatened. But in the NBA, at least for now, it may change, but at least for now, games are continuing. Why? Why are there different results? They both want to play, but there are different results. Why? Because there were different choices several weeks ago in the other season. Now they're in this season. It's the same with our life. If you want to enjoy a season where things are good in your life and fruitful and moving in a godly direction, you can't just wake up one day and say that's the way it is. You have to start making decisions now and have to be ready to wait for the results because they don't always come right away. Students, a lot of the problems that you might be dealing with right now are the results of choices you made a while back, and maybe you can't connect the dots, but often we're just dealing with the consequences of past choices. The choices you make today, even though they may be small, they can have big changes in the future. That's why Paul tells us not to give up. Here's the last verse in Galatians 6. In verse 9, he says, "And let's not grow weary or tired of doing good, for in due season we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Students, keep doing the right things. Keep planting the right seeds, and the harvest is unstoppable. In due season, that's the next season, that's the one that's around the corner, you're going to be dealing with the results of the decisions and choices that you've made. So make good choices, make good decisions. Students, because when you plant determines when you harvest. Students, thanks once again for watching tonight. If you've got any questions about this message, or if you'd like more information on how you can be a follower of Christ, I hope you'll call me or text me at the number you see on the screen. We'd love to see you and your family at church this Sunday at 10:30 a.m. at the FBC main building. Please make sure to make reservations before this Friday at noon. And like we do each week, we're going to send you the link to register tomorrow through Remind, so be sure to look for that. We're also going to be gathering this Sunday night for Ignite at 7 p.m. And this week, we're going to meet in the youth room. We're going to ask you to go ahead and bring your own chair, wear a mask, bring a friend. Let's get together. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Until Sunday, we'll see you. God bless.
Biggest takeaway from that message, there was a lot in a very short amount of time. I'm going to start with Anna Grace. Anna Grace, what was your biggest takeaway? What's the thing that jumped out to you the most?
My biggest takeaway was the first note on what you plant determines what you harvest, because a lot of times like you do something and you expect it to come out a different way. That like with what you said about the MLB and the NBA is the MLB, they probably expected a completely different turnout. They thought if they just did what they were supposed to do and that everything would be fine and they could still play. And so a lot of times, like if we do something, we just don't really expect what comes out of it. Sometimes you do something and you think it's going to come out a different way and it ends up being the complete opposite.
Okay, that's cool. Ty, anything? What's your biggest takeaway?
I'm definitely gonna have to go with the second point, like where you plant is where you harvest, because I just think a lot of people worry about creating relationships outside of like church and outside of people that really like rally around Christ and stuff. And you know, if you make those relationships with people that you know go to church and really just worship God and everything, every part of your life will just get better because you'll have those people to help you get through a lot of things, and that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, those are good points, guys. I have one too. The big thing that I kind of took away from that was kind of whenever you were talking about when you plant determines when you harvest. And to me, that kind of got me thinking about habits and spiritual habits and stuff, and kind of how oftentimes, you know, whenever you're young, you're in high school, middle school, whatever, you don't really take sometimes we don't really take our spiritual habits, like reading our Bible every day, praying every day, stuff like that. We don't take it very seriously. And we're like, oh, well, you know, whenever I'm grown and I have a job and I have like this set schedule or whatever, that I'll be better at it. I'll do better. But the reality of it is it's not going to get any easier. And the habits that you form now are habits that you're going to take on with you through college and whenever you start working one day and like when you have a family and all that. So if you develop those habits now, like if you plant that seed now, then you're going to be able to reap what it sows later, right? And so to me, that just it kind of tells me, hey, don't think about things like, oh, I'm too young. Don't use excuses like that. Go ahead and do those things now. Because in First Timothy 4:12, it tells us that not to let anybody look down on you because you're young. Instead, set the example for everyone who's looking at you. So if we take that scripture and apply that to sowing now what we want to reap later, then don't let your age be an excuse to kind of starting to do things that you think you might do later, I guess.
That is a good word, Mitchell. I left this out of the message. I was reminded growing up on the farm. There's this plant called the cucumber plant. You guys ever heard of the cucumber? Okay, if you ever got this,
Sure.
yeah, you're like, no. Okay, well, I guarantee you know what I'm talking about. Have you ever gotten this little thing in your sock? It looks like a porcupine egg.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a cucumber. All right. So we were driving along one time, and Dad looks out, and I see nothing but cotton, and there's this one plant out there. And Dad says, "There's that cucumber plant." He goes, "You need to get out there and pull it up." And I'm like, "Why? It's one plant." He said, "That one plant will have 100 seed, and for each seed, there'll be another plant with 100 seed. And if you let that one plant go, next year there'll be hundreds of cucumber plants all over there, and it'll be taking away nutrients from the cotton." And so we went out there and pulled up very carefully without shaking the seed one plant and threw it in the ditch because my dad didn't want anything affecting the crop. And I think about what are the cucumbers in my life, what are the things that are not good? I don't need them there, and I need to get rid of them. But yet we don't do that. So anyway, it's a little deep and kind of off a little bit, but I don't know. That's what I keep thinking about. Be careful what you're letting grow in your life. Does that make sense? Because there's stuff growing, and you have to be very, very careful of that. Well, anyway, that's been good this week. You guys did great. You ever been on live stream before?
Not that I
I mean,
know
you
of.
painted a few weeks ago, Anna. Well, both
Oh,
of you
yeah.
did. You did
I had a
Yeah.
what challenge did I do? I forgot.
Building robots.
Yeah, I won that.
Did?
Hey, I won mine too. I won the painting. We
This
had
is
to
the
paint
winner's
Bob
week.
Ross.
That's what
Yeah, it
this
is the
That's what it is.
Hey, we're the cream of the crop. That's what it is. We're the top.
All
There
right.
you go.
I'm going to do something a little dangerous, Mitchell. We didn't talk about this earlier. If you would like to host, you need to text me or Mitchell. Now, just because you text us doesn't mean you're automatically hosting next week. But we would like to know. Now, listen, if you text us and you say that means you're going to come and actually talk on camera. You're not going to be like, "Hey, how you doing?" You're going to be like really talking. So let me and Mitchell know. And we're trying to get different students every week. So let us know. Thank you for watching tonight. It has been great. A special thanks to Anna Grace and Ty. Woo! Thank you very much. And Mitchell, that was the greatest thing ever when you took all the cotton balls away from Ty. That was super. Anyway, we hope to see you guys Sunday, 10:30 a.m. worship. Also, 7 o'clock in the youth room. Come through the game room. You'll check in and go straight to the youth room Sunday night for Ignite. We love you guys.